Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to answer some questions. The video that kind of built my channel was my first video, and it was, does bullet trace go both ways? So can you see bullet trace from an incoming round rather than an outgoing round? And that video did really well. I did a short. It's got like 150 million views, like 20,000 comments, and 99% of those comments are, I could dodge that. And we're going to revisit this with a better camera, better setup, slow motion, stuff like that. And I just want to tell you all that you can't dodge it. Well, I guess I should say this. Long answer, maybe. Short answer, no. You're not dodging it. Because there's a few things that are coming into play, and the whole reason you think you can dodge it is because you are in the most specific set of circumstances to be able to observe that incoming round. And that is this setup. If you can see, we've got the camera set up in the back. We've got this target. So basically this camera is looking directly over this target. So it's kind of shielded. And then that camera is looking directly at the shooter, me. And that very specific set of circumstances is you already know where the round is coming from. You're already pretty hyper-focused on the shooter, maybe poised to get out of the way. And we'll talk about this with my buddy Kyle too. But we've got some pretty crazy footage already. And basically the dodgeability is going to come down to distance, obviously your level of reflexes, and whether the shooter is visible or not. In these shots, the shooter is going to be 100% visible. I'm not going to ghillie up and veg up for this. This is purely for, scientific purposes. But I think this video is going to be really cool, and I think a lot of you are going to learn a few things about getting sniped. It looks, Battlefield is not that far off. With this shot, you guys are going to be pretty amazed. It's not that far off with, that incoming round. It's it's actually crazy. I'm kind of giddy about this shot. We shot it beforehand, but yeah, so let's get into shooting. Real quick, I need to thank our sponsors of the channel. One, Eberly Stock. Those guys are awesome. They've been supplying me with bags and packs and gear for a while. I was a customer long before that, but those guys are fantastic. Use code ClarkShooter on their website. Number two, Bone Frog. They are the official ammo sponsor of the channel. Great ammo. I've shot thousands of their 77 grain OTMs. They're fantastic. Today we're shooting a 6.5, the old AXSR. You guys saw my super autistic video, hour-long video on this rifle. But currently it has a 6.5 barrel in it. I've got a 7-35 attacker on top and a Maztec X4 LRF 15K that's going to be giving us our data. But that is what we'll be firing these shots with. I needed my, my most guaranteed first round impact rifle for this shot because the camera is a $4,000 spotting scope and I really don't want to hit that. So that's why we have kind of a big target out here as well. But yeah, let's shoot a little bit more. All right, so here is the target setup. It's just a C-zone. Then at about 20 feet behind the target, we have the camera setup, which is a Zeiss Harpia and an all-in with an iPhone on it. But basically what's happening is we have the spotter, the target, and then the shooter way over there. And we basically reverse the roles of the target and the shooter. So the spotter is in the optimal position if that target was me to observe the outgoing trace. But since we want to observe it incoming, we flipped it. So I'm where the target would be, and the target is where the shooter should be. So we're seeing that trace incoming instead. And that's how we're capturing this shot. And, ideally, I don't miss and smoke my camera or tripod. But the reason why I put it farther back is because if I do miss high, that round is coming in from, above the target. It's not that bullets don't fly straight, and you'll see that. So that bullet is likely to impact somewhere in the ground right here or hit my tripod, which I would much rather hit my tripod than a $4,000 spotting scope. So that's why we put it this far back rather than, just directly like on top of the spotter. Okay, let's see what we he's trying to kill me. Okay, we should be good then. Let's turn the Maztec on. Okay, Kyle is out of the way. Oh, that's hairy. Okay, we're at 923 yards. I'm gonna first fire a sighter for my camera's, my spotting scope's sake. So that's telling me 7.2. There's a rock right next to it. Getting a very light right to left, so I'm gonna give it like 0.2 right or level. Okay, so spin 8 that, bring it up a 1/10, and go for the target. Favor low. Impact. Nice. Send a few more just to get the look. Let's give it a quick twofer. Hit it with one more just for good measure. Sick. I was talking with Kyle and we were saying how this is 100% a visual challenge because, you know, if you're going by sound, you're dead. You will not hear, like we're suppressed right now, you'll never hear it. Even if it's unsuppressed, by the time you hear it, the bullet has already passed through your noggin because that bullet's going 3 times the speed of sound depending on caliber. So we plug the data into the Kestrel and that gives us our time of flight. So at 920 yards, about what we shot at for the first shot, time of flight is 1.2 seconds. And you have to factor in normal human reaction time. You know, if you're at home, maybe go and try and time your reaction time, or just Google, like if you feel like you're an athlete or if you're a baseball player, you have faster reaction time reacting to, you know, a pitcher's baseball coming out to hit it. You might have 2 or 3 tenths faster of a reaction time. So you can factor that in, but you have 1.2 seconds to get out of the road of that bullet. And the other factors that are coming into play is where is that guy aiming on you? Like, is he trying to take a headshot? That's a lower probability target and there's less mass to get out of the way. But if he's going center mass, if your reaction time, you know, you say you react in 3 tenths of a second, which is insane. If you react in 3 tenths of a second, then you have 0.9 tenths, you know, you have 9 tenths of a second left to get out of the way. And so if he's going center mass and you obviously have, if you're laying down or whatever, but if you're standing and you load your left foot to get out of the way, that bolt, you might get out of the, you know, the vital zone, you might still take that round. There's so many factors that goes into actually dodging this round, which is why I say 99, you know, long answer, maybe you might be able to get out of the way. Short answer, no, you're dead. Just simply because the only way you're going to be able to observe this round coming in is the optics setup that we have. You know, even if it's sniper to sniper and you're looking through a scope, like I said earlier, you have to be on his and observing him, like, you know, focused. And even we were talking, you know, I've never been in combat and I'm not a sniper, I'm just a hobbyist, but when I'm looking at a target, or, you know, it could be different for those who have, you know, hunted men. when I'm on target, I'm hyper focused on, you know, the environment, the wind, mirage, you know, is my gun level, is my data good, my trigger press, everything, all my fundamentals. And I feel like that should be the same way if, you know, for a real sniper trying to make that shot. I feel like you're going to be a lot more focused on making that shot rather than, you know, what your opponent is, if it's sniper on sniper, like, you know, Carlos Hathcock in the Cobra. Maybe that Cobra did see like a muzzle flash or whatever, but, you know, that shot wasn't as far as this. So inside of 800 yards, I think it's impossible. That flight time goes under a second and you're just toast. So basically, long story short, you're dead. That's kind of the conclusion that we've come to, especially, you know, depending on the caliber. This is just normal 6.5 Creedmoor. If they're using, you know, if they won't use this in combat, but, you know, if they're using like a 6 Creed, a 22 Creed, one of those crazy fast PRC where the bullet's going 3,200 feet per second, like, you're absolutely cooked. That bullet is screaming. But yeah, an interesting kind of experiment and very fun. I think we're going to do one more shot and just show the speed. You know, we're going to go inside of 800 yards, maybe 700 or 600 yards, and just show how much faster or how much less time you have. You know, you're probably looking at 0.7 to 0.8 of a second to get out of the way from, you know, the time it leaves the muzzle to impact. So let's go do that. All right. So we are at 460 yards. I'll laze it real quick just to be dead on. .460. So only 2.3. So at this distance, you are cooked. You are at the pearly gates before your body hits the ground. Reaction or flight time for this is basically nothing, but we're just going to show that. So I got 2.3 on the gun. One more. Yeah, so at that distance, you're smoked, you're dead, you're greased, you're slimed, as the kids say. No chance. I think we're going to try one more mid-range, around 600 to 700, and we'll call it good. Point proven. Only under an extremely specific set of circumstances do you even have a chance of dodging a sniper's bullet. If you base it off sound, you're cooked. But yeah, let's set up one more shot. All right. Oh my gosh, there's goat heads everywhere. That hurts. Doing it for you guys. Okay. So now we are at we are at 700 yards exactly. So let's see what we got. Make sure Kyle is out of the way. We're good. I am getting a very slight right to left. I'm going to say it's 3 to 4. So that's 700 yards. That's going to be like a 0.3 right. So it's saying 4.6. Okay. 4.6, 0.3 right. Well, wrong on the wind. Mirage fooled me. No wind. Alright, 4.6. Center. Center. Two left, let's do a fast one. There we go. All right. Now this is the bleeding edge of dodgeability in my opinion. Simply on flight time, you need to have like freaking ninja reflexes. You need to be moving like 0.2 of a second after you see this, and then you better be moving like lightning. Yeah, you're not dodging that. There's no way you're dodging it at 700 yards. I think it's got to be like 800 yards or farther. But yeah, let's go pack up and wrap this video up. Ow! Goat heads. All right, guys, that is the Can You Dodge a Sniper's Bullet video, and I think we came to the conclusion that probably not. We talked about time of flight. Kyle brought up the point of time of flight. Looking at the Kestrel, it gives you that exact time of flight. At 900 yards, 920, it was like 1.2. Actually, let's pull out. We didn't look it up for 400 and 700. So I'll pull that up. Go down to target card. Well, I guess I need to go back and do that. 700 first. We were like dead nuts at 700 yards. So time of flight is 0.8 seconds. So I don't think you're dodging that.
No, and I was standing off to the side probably 100 yards, and all the way from the 920 to that 700 and even the closer one, it's near simultaneous. From like when you hear the crack to impact, yeah,
and that crack that we're hearing is the sonic wave of the bullet. That's not the report of the gun. So that you can't react off of that, because that sonic wave is, it's the wake from the bullet. You're essentially the wake that we're seeing on the bullet. That's kind of a visual representation of that sonic wave, the sound wave that the bullet is flying ahead of. So like 100 yards to the east of us, where Kyle was hearing that crack, that's basically the sound's wake hitting him. So it kind of, the bullet was probably a little past him when he heard it, but it's, it's not humanly possible to react to that kind of, and you couldn't react to it because that bullet wasn't meant for you if you heard it from that distance.
Exactly. Yeah. The only way you tell is if you're on a spotter scope looking right at you and then seeing that puff, but you might not even get that puff either.
No. So, the puff out of the suppressor, it's variables on just the weather, humidity, all that stuff. There's a couple good puffs because it's kind of moist this morning and stuff like that. But one other thing I'll mention, because the way I'm going to edit this video is going to, it's going to be me, the shooter, and then the target's POV. So I'm going to overlay that audio, so you will hear the shot before impact, but that's only because there is, audio is being recorded at the shooter as well. Just so I'm not going to, delay. It'll just mess up the timing and everything. I want it to be real time from when the shot is fired to impact, but that is not what the target is hearing. You're only hearing that because I overlaid the two audios. There's a lot of people that were really confused in the original video. They're like, you wouldn't hear the sound, and they're right, but they just didn't quite comprehend the editing. You know, there's 2 different audio feeds, so I'll make that disclaimer. But now, so yeah, 0.8 seconds. That's insane. I think I'll have to look up like what, like an MLB pitcher from when he pitches to, you know, when the batter hits it. I think it's around there. It's less than a second. So like, yeah, that's MLB, like professional athletes' reaction time.
You could probably get super fancy with it and do research on like people's reaction time too, if you really wanted to get.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll ask old that tin skin clanker chat GPT just what normal reaction time is. But I mean, we can do that right now. It's crazy that we can do this. We can ask that.
It's scary. Yeah, I think it would be.
What's the normal reaction time for your average dude? See if I have enough service to do it. So it says visual reaction time is 1/4 of a second. And then auditory reaction time is 0.17 seconds. And then tactile reaction time is 0.15 seconds. So that's a little bit faster than I thought. And I think that's just that basically what that's saying is, you know, your brain processing that something is happening, and then you have to take into account like you deciding what to do, like getting out of the way and stuff like that. So it says, for context, trained athletes, pilots, or shooters consistently hit 180 to 200 milliseconds visually. Fatigue, alcohol, or distraction can push it above 300 milliseconds easily. And then human biological limits, nerve conduction plus decision latency, so that's what I said, deciding what to do, bottom out around 100 to 120 milliseconds for any reaction involving conscious thought. So this would require some conscious thought, you know, for you to process like, oh, that's a bullet. I need to get out of the way, decide which way to roll. And like I said earlier, at the 900 yard line, you might be rolling into that shot depending on how good the sniper's wind call was. You know, if it's bad wind, you saw me throw a shot at 700 yards because I misjudged the wind based on mirage. It looked like it was ripping a lot more, and there was no wind. So had that been a cold bore shot and you decide to roll to your left, you would have rolled right into my bullet. So that's, you know, there's thousands of variables that go into this. So I think we can conclusively say there is no way that you can like reliably dodge, you know, use that as an asset. You know, like if I see a sniper, I'm just going to dodge it. Like that's how I'm going to combat that sniper.
Yeah.
There's
no way.
But basically, you know, you're in the military. What would you do like if you knew there was a sniper on the ridgeline?
Oh man, I don't even know. I'd probably just try to find cover as fast as possible. Like I mean,
some kind of call for fire.
For me specifically, probably that. I mean, it would be really hard unless we were like somebody specifically glassing for that person or like for that threat. You're gonna have to look really hard to find exactly where that person is.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, for what I did, if that was the case, I'd probably just be dropping bombs or gun runs over that ridge line. That's all I would do. I'd probably just call in a gun run over there, but
just level the grid square that you think he's on.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Which would work. There's a lot of people on the other video I did, where it was find the sniper. You have 10 seconds. A lot of people are just like, well, I'm just calling in air support. Which, you know,
that would be.
If you're lucky enough to have air support, then definitely do that.
Yeah.
But
if
we're talking about a hits the fan situation, you're not having air support.
I mean, that's why they have systems out there that give you like rough distance and direction for gunshots now. Like it's not that easy to just I know exactly where they're at. You know? So
that's not even taken into account. Like I wasn't camouflaged at all. We didn't even try that. And there's a lot of people, it's like, oh, I have thermal. It's like you can hide from thermal. They have that technology now. There's lots of cloaks and different systems that for the average dude, like if you're trying to hide from normal thermal and the guy behind the thermal isn't experienced in glassing behind, through those kind of optics, you can hide from them. Then there's obviously other sensors that can easily pick them up, but those aren't commercially available. But you can still hide from thermal. It's very easy to hide from just normal optics. Camouflage is crazy these days. This shooting from sagebrush, I think that would be very easy to get vegged up, find a really good position. You can fire from, depth. Yeah.
I mean, your one video proved that. You just had like a fail over you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's if you're like looking for somebody like
Yeah.
that. Like you're not going to be patrolling through here,
Mhm.
like going through your binos like
Yeah.
that 24/7. That's like,
Yeah, and
that's
if-
not a thing.
If you're a normal guy, you know, patrolling with your squad and there's a sniper, you're toast. Like unless you have a guy actually out glassing, and once that sniper like picks up a guy's like, oh, he's looking for me, you know, I'm gonna smoke him.
Yeah.
You don't unless you immediately get on him and be like, oh shit, like sniper,
Yeah.
we need cover now.
Or ISR.
One of you is gonna get smoked.
Yeah. Or ISR, but nobody has that. Other
Yeah, nobody's got ISR.
Yeah, that's not
Drones
happening.
up, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like at Saving Private Ryan when Vin Diesel gets smoked. One of you is getting smoked before you can all get to cover. You know, this sniper's got talent.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's another point. When he shoots that German sniper, that sniper would have seen the trace. He saw the puff. He didn't hear the shot. Well, no, in that video they did it incorrectly. You hear the report of the rifle.
Yeah.
So, freaking, who's the director of that show? He's an idiot. No, great show, but still, yeah. He wouldn't have heard the shot. He would have seen the flash. He would have seen a little bit of trace because it was an whatever sniper rifle was using, 30-6,
Mm-hmm.
which is a cooking round.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's probably at like 400 or 500 yards. Still.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, he even saw the flash and didn't even register. Dead. And it's a movie, so you can believe it. And same thing like the Carlos Hathcock versus the Cobra, which is the whole thing that inspired this video. You know, I've been obsessed with snipers and rifles since I was a kid, and reading about that, I was like, that's sick. But that's, I guess, technically that's what the Cobra saw, and he didn't react to. So it kind of reaffirms my theory that you're going to be a lot more focused on your target than what your target is doing. You know, if you've got a sniper in your sights, you're going to be like, oh, I'm getting ready to smoke him. If you see a puff, I don't think, you know, that latency that ChatGPT told us about is going to come into effect, and I think you're just toast. If that sniper has talent,
Mm-hmm.
you're
Yeah.
toast.
Yeah. It's end of day. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks to Kyle for being the downrange camera guy.
Yeah.
I'd get to my firing position. He would tell me which way to go to get, you know, in the optimal position, and then he would get to cover, well into cover. Like I couldn't even see him. So
Nah,
if
yeah,
anyone
super
wants
far.
to be a FUD and
Totally safe.
sad in the comments. But yeah,
Yeah.
thanks to Kyle for helping, so we don't have 4 hours of footage on my phone.
No problem.
But yeah, let us know what you thought of this video. It's definitely something I want to continue to experiment with. We call it Dead Man's POV. I think that's pretty appropriate. But it's been really cool experimenting with this and being able to observe an incoming round without dying. So
About as close as you can get.
yeah, about as close as you can get
Yeah.
to seeing what, you know, a lot of dead people have probably seen. But yeah, if you have any other cool ideas, let us know that we can experiment with. You know, this is kind of the sniper rifle channel. We like to experiment with rifles that your normal dude probably doesn't have access to, so we want to do a lot of cool stuff with that, and we need ideas, so let us know. But don't forget to subscribe, share the video, and we'll see you on the next one.